Hi everyone. It is Sunday and it is a rainy day. I really didn't mind spending the day inside because the weather outside did not look like it was very inviting. So I'm continuing with my projects and reading through old journals and beautifying rooms and throwing out clutter. And continuing to think about ways that I can get through this, thriving, not just surviving, and looking at the world from an optimistic standpoint, knowing that everything is in divine order, and my prayers and my hopes and my dreams are that we will come through this as better people, and of course valuing the connection that we have to all of humanity. So today, as I was contemplating what my personal challenge was and what the challenge would be that I would share with you, I found myself thinking about the gift of discernment and grace. And when I think about discernment, I think about how so very often we have to make choices, and the choices that we make need to come from an informed place, a wise place, a place of making the decision because we know that in reality everything that we do matters. The smallest thing that we do or choose not to do matters. And sometimes the decisions that we make are tremendous opportunities for grace to enter into a circumstance. So I was thinking about a homeless man who came across my path many years ago when I lived in New York City. And I love to share this story because I think particularly now it's something that it's just so timely when we think about what we are going through and how many of us may feel like this is such an inconvenience, and many people are actually suffering much more than an inconvenience. But can we actually practice some discernment and make some choices and decisions that are going to be for the benefit for other people, for all of society? Can we do that? And the answer to that, of course, is yes. But it is being awake and present when those opportunities present themselves. So this whole story has to do with a homeless man that I saw walking down 57th Street in New York. And many of the homeless people in different neighborhoods, wherever they may live, some of them have people that kind of look out for them a little bit. They get to know them, and that's the way it used to be. And I had seen this man many times in the past, and on this one particular day, I had decided that I was not going to give him money. And I thought about money and giving homeless people money and how they may use it for drugs or alcohol, and you're not really helping anything sometimes by doing that. But I decided that I was going to start taking homeless people somewhere to eat. And so I stopped this gentleman and I said, "Would you like something to eat?" And he said, "Yes, ma'am." And I said, "Well, okay, come on, we're going to go over here to this little restaurant. We're going to get something." He said, "We?" I said, "Yes, you and me. We're going to go to this restaurant and we're going to get something to eat." And so we went into the restaurant. He followed me rather reluctantly. And as we walked up to the counter, it was a counter where you could order what you wanted and then they would bring it to your table. So I told him to order whatever he wanted. And he had his head down, and then he looked up and he said, "I'll just have a burger." And I said, "Well, tell the man behind the counter that you'd like a burger." And he said, "I'll have a burger." The man said, "You want anything on it?" And he looked at me and I said, "Get whatever you want." And he said, "I'd like some cheese." The man said, "Okay." And then he said, "I think I want some onions on that and some lettuce and some tomato too." And each time he talked about what else he wanted, he went from a very stooped position to sort of standing straight up and feeling like he was a person. And I watched that. I watched how that simple act on that day of not handing him a $5 or a $10 bill, but taking him into a restaurant and allowing him to order something that he wanted. And right before we went to the table with our little number where they were going to bring the food, he turned around and he said, "And I want some fries too." And I just started to laugh. And we sat there when they brought the food and we talked. And I found out what his story was, why he was homeless and why he was living on the streets and what had happened in his life. That was a moment of discernment for me as to whether or not I was going to take that time and give it to that human being, or I was just going to give him some money and keep moving. And to see what giving my full attention to another human being and taking the time to listen to his story and to know why he was where he was, and I saw him many other times going in and out of the city, but just to respect his humanity, him as a human being, that was a moment of grace. And we have opportunities for that all the time. We just kind of miss them. So my challenge today is, when can you practice some discernment around an action that you're going to take, and maybe that action you can stretch it a little bit and access the grace to bravely step into a space of helping someone with more than a dollar bill, but actually engaging with them in a conversation or looking them in the eye and saying, "Hey, I see you." Just recognizing another human being who may not be in the same circumstances that you are, but just needs to be seen. That's what we all want. We all want to be seen, and we want to be heard, and we want to be recognized and respected. So I'd like for you all to think about creating or looking for those types of opportunities in life. Because when we go back outside again, let's make sure that we can see everyone. I love you all. See you tomorrow.